All right, we're still continuing the first half of Excel 1. Hopefully we can plow through and get through the second half here in a fair amount of time. What they want us to do next is go back to the documentation sheet and enter a date. And what they tell you in the book is that you can enter dates just about any which way you want. If you recognize it as a date, there's a pretty good chance that Excel is going to recognize it as a date. So today is the 28th. They want us to enter that date in there. If you type in 9/28, they don't tell you this in the book. You can leave the year off if you want the current year. Now, unfortunately, in the book, they keep making you type 2016, 2017. Then you have to type the entire year. But if you want to just enter today's date, you can enter it that way. Now, on the other hand, if you want it formatted to look differently, then enter it the way you want it to look. And it still leaves it, unfortunately. We're going to learn in Unit 2 how to format that so that it looks better. Now, if we do let's go home here on the Home tab. If we do this is a little out of scope here, clear all, it'll wipe that cell out. Not only will it wipe out the cell, but it wipes out any formatting that it has. That's different than clear. Delete key just wipes it out, the text, but it leaves the formatting. Now, let me see what happens if I type the date the other way. Leaves it alone. Okay. So, if you want to follow along, I clicked in that B4 and I said clear all. Then type the full date so that it leaves that date alone instead of reformatting. The other date that just said 28 Sep still had the same date in it. Whatever. Thank you. Not to me it ain't. I'm still working on yesterday. Okay. So I want it to be the 29th. Now watch what happens. SEP29. Let's try spelling it right. SEP29. Because it's formatted before, it'll use the same formatting. Once it's formatted, the formatting of a cell sticks. Sometimes that's annoying. That's where you do a clear all. Back to customer orders. In the book, they now say, okay, let's get, oh, come on, really? You keep doing that to me. Tutorial 1, we just did the date, entering texts and dates and numbers. Now this one's in preview mode. Good grief. Can't win today. My apologies. Okay, now the book wants us to enter a bunch of stuff. We're going to do a little bit of it, and then we're going to import to save ourselves some typing and hopefully some time. So that's on page 24, 23, 24. It shows you all of this stuff. And they say that in cell A12, I think I just figured out what's happening. I got two machines going at the same book at the same time, and they're going, shame on you. Because now it's logged me out of the other one. So that part I didn't expect. So you got your book, so I'm going to sign out of this book so it quits complaining about it. And sign into this one. Live and learn. And I'm still recording too. How interesting is this? You're listening to it later and bored to tears. I went to ex1.2. Okay, in cell A12, we're supposed to type in all caps, so you might get your caps lock key because we're going to be typing a lot of caps now. ISBN. That's the book code number. We're having book stuff here. Then press the tab key to move over to B12. Type category. Again, all caps. Tab binding. title, authors. And I'm going to jump ahead in the book just a little bit here because later they're going to make us type price and quantity. So keep going. Tab, price, and quantity. Then press enter and go down to B13. Chopping some of that off, but we'll learn how to adjust this stuff as we go. Now there's a bunch of really annoying numbers in the book with dashes, and you're supposed to get them all right. You know what? I don't want you to type those things. So for ISBN, let's just type 123. Excel treats that as a number. Notice that it left aligns it because it senses that it's, it right aligns it because it senses it's a number. Text is left aligned automatically by Excel because normally when we see text, that's the way we want it. But numbers, we like them lined up on the ones column and the tens columns and the hundreds, so it aligns them to the right. If this was an ISBN, the real ones, I'm going to replace that with 123-456. Now it's left aligned because there's a dash in it. That's not a number. Excel senses that. Let's skip the category, skip the title because it's just text. Go to the price. For the price of the book, the first one's $5.95. But if you type 5.95, that's what you'll get. Since it's currency, you might want a dollar sign. If you want a dollar sign, type it, and we do. So type a dollar sign, $5.95. I pressed enter, I should have pressed tab, but I'm going to click on that cell. Notice that in the cell it shows a dollar sign, but notice what's in the formula bar? The plain old boring $5.95. Excel does not, behind the scenes, store formatting. It simply stores a number. The formatting is different, it's associated with the cell. Let's go to the quantity. Let's say I want 1,250 of these. If you type 1250, you'll get 1250. If you type a comma, you'll get a comma. Go ahead and type 1, 11, that's too many. 1, 250. Press enter or tab, either one, and notice it puts the comma in there for you. But if you click on the cell and look at the formula bar, there's no comma. Excel stores the bare bones number behind the scenes, and it shows it to you in the format that you requested. And since you already typed it with a comma, click in that cell and type 2500, no comma. Press tab. It puts the comma in for you. Once you tell it, I want commas in my numbers, if you change the number, it leaves the commas in there. If I come over here for the price and type 6, it adds the dollar sign, gives me 2 decimal places because that's what I had before. Believe it or not, that's pretty slick. Later on, it will really help us. What I would like you to do next is wipe all that stuff out. So come out here to A13, highlight all the way over, use the plus sign. Remember, you got to be kind of in the middle of the cell, and do a clear all, because that will clear the text and the formatting. Clear all. Should wipe everything out, and then just click in A13 to make it the current cell. And now we're going to get fancy. I've already typed this stuff. I don't want you to spend time typing it. If you've been typing it, you've been, I won't say wasting your time because it's good practice typing, but I already have these. Minimize Excel. Just hit the min button up there. And on your desktop, you should have a Word document called Excel1 Import. Yes? Double click it. Doesn't matter which version of Word opens. I'm opening it in 13. If yours opens up in 10, leave it. And that ought to look familiar. It's a table. Now you may not see the dotted lines. I have the table borders displaying just for grins, but it's a table in Microsoft Word. Highlight that entire table. I think we can just click in there and come on. There's the table selection button up there. So I click it somewhere and then I get this little button, click it, and it selects the whole table. Copy that to the clipboard. I'm going to right click in the shaded area and copy. You might leave that open just in case. Down on your status bar or your toolbar, you should see your Excel icon. Click it. I'm way down here. There's the Excel icon. Click it and open that back up again. And here's the magic. In cell A13, just the one cell, paste. And that's good enough. And it pasted all the stuff in there. I got numbers, I got names that are chopping off, I got this which is wrapping, I got some weird stuff, but I got all the text in here. First thing I want to do is make this look a little better. Everybody with me? If you typed it manually, you don't have to go through this. Up on the toolbar, there's a button that says Wrap Text. That's why this text is wrapping right here. I want to click it, and then click it again. Ta-da! Magic. And now instead of typing all that fun stuff with all the titles and all the numbers and all the dashes, hurry up, hit save. Here's work. If not, let me know. So we saved some typing and we can move on. In the book, I'm now on page 25 on my other screen here, where it says resizing rows and columns. This is not very attractive, and Bob's question is always, would you be happy showing this to your friend's family boss? And no, stuff's all chopped off. I don't like that. How do we adjust? By sizing the columns. A couple of ways to do this. By the way, you can do the columns and you can do the rows. The key is always the right edge of the column letter. See that double-headed arrow? Once again, Excel is very important that you sense the shape of your mouse. You can drag that. If you drag it, you get a little box above it that tells you how many wide you are. And the book always says, make it 15, and I'm always doing the 15. I hate that. In the real world, nobody tells you make it size 15. In the real world, they say stretch it until it fits. But how do I know you did it right? Here's a tip. Don't think it's in the book. It's another thing to go in my classes. That's what the recording is good for. A few tips here and there. If you right-click the column, you can set the column width by typing. None of the back and forth. Just click. Type 15. Okay. 15. Now you know it's exact. And you've got an anal instructor, and my programming students will tell you I am. Right, Andy? Not buying in. Yeah, he's pretty anal. Okay. Tyler, thank you. You got an anal instructor who looks for that kind of stuff, and you got 15.02, he's going, that's not what the book said. Plus, some of you are as anal as I am, and you got to get it at 15, and dragging is just really hard to do. Right click, set the column width to 15. Much easier. Back to the book. What am I supposed to be doing here? Make A size 15 by dragging. Boring. Next page. A, column A is increased. B and C to 18. Well, they're right next to each other. If you point to B, just like in Excel or Word tables, you can notice that up and down arrow now, it's black. I can highlight them both at the same time. I'm dragging. Right click. Column width, 18. I hope I read that right. They teach you a different way. You can control click one or the other. Dragging seemed pretty simple to me. Okay? And they also say, if you do this with both of them selected, it'll do them both. Next page. Column D. I'm on page 27. Column D, they teach you how to select column D. Then they say go to Format, which is where? I don't even see my Format tab here. In the Home tab, click Format. Where'd it go? See, you can tell how often I do it this way, right? There's Format, and then you drop that down, and it says column. I'm not doing that. That's column. When you right-click it, it's easier. Right-click, column width, same thing. How wide do you want this one? 30. I'll start typing in the wrong keyboard here soon. 30. They're still wrapping. We're going to fix that. Or they're still flowing over. And then what? Column E, 15. Right click, column width, 15. Remember Volcker's adage. You don't know how to do something, right click it. If you're lucky, it'll be right there. If you're not, look at it. Or you can do like I did, go scrolling around the ribbon over and over and over again trying to find some of these things. So, and then remember Microsoft Word, there were some that aren't in the ribbon. You got to click the goofy little button here and go to it. Oh, man. Right click. Most of the time it works. Didn't tell me to change the other ones, so we're okay. E is column 15. Now click back in cell A1. Now in my case, because I'm so enlarged here, I can't see it all at once, but you can probably see most of it if you're 100% zoomed. Column D, auto fit the contents of D. Whoa. Okay. Here, we haven't done this yet. Auto fit. I think there's a right click auto fit, but I think that's actually harder. No, I don't see it. To auto fit, you point to the right edge and double click. What auto fit means is make it fit the widest data that I have in that column. And so it keeps stretching them to make them fit by double clicking. Real easy. In the real world, that's what I do. I select A to F, double click one edge, it sizes them all to fit. I don't care about 15, 18. I'm more interested in make it fit so that it looks good. And then they say undo. So Control Z puts it back again. Actually, they say resize it to 30, but that's what it was. So Control Z, undo, puts it back at size 30. And if you want to check, you can always right click, column width, and it says 30. Go. Click in cell A12. That's interesting. Okay. Following the book. Click in cell A12. If you want to create a new line, why do I want to create a new line within a cell? Press Alt, Enter. That's interesting. Why am I doing that? Next page. Just because. But it's good to know in the back of your head. I want the Grove Street to be on a second line. Let me just show it to you. You don't have to follow. I'm going to come up here where it says Grove and click in front of the G, and I'm going to press Alt, Enter. And I hope this works on my Mac. Notice, now it's over 2 lines. So if you need to start within a cell, a second line, you press Alt, Enter. That's hidden in the book. It's one page, one sentence on the bottom of page 28. And then in the assignments, they probably make you do it and don't tell you how. But hopefully the training tells you. I'm going to undo that, put it back again. I missed something. There's the wrapping text. I missed that somewhere. Select D13 to D17. You'll see that written in the book with a colon. D13 to 17. That's all the titles. I selected them all at once. On the toolbar, there was that button that says Wrap Text. You could probably right-click down here, but it's handy. Right-click or regular click. And now each one of these splits into 2 rows. But now, because of my importing, we have a different problem. Notice that these are center, they're middle aligned up and down. I'm going to shrink my zoom down a little bit here. This is not in the book because in the book it didn't happen that these are sitting in the middle instead of the bottom or the top of the cell. It's because we imported them from Word, and in Word, cells are automatically centered up and down. And so we got that formatting. How do we get rid of that? Highlight the whole bunch. And then there's the alignment buttons. Notice there's 6 of them. Up and down, and left and right. There's 6 of them. So which looks better? Bottom? Not bad. Top? Yeah, I think that's best. So let's go with top, but you can adjust it. And that's not in the book, but it's something we'll hit later anyways. What happened to my row 16 here? What a mess. I'm going to highlight 13 through 17 using the row numbers. I pointed to 13 and dragged all the way down. It selects the entire row. And I'm going to point to one of these split lines right here. Remember when we auto-sized column D, we double-clicked. You can do the same thing for the row height. Point to the bottom, double-click. Better than that. There we go. And now every row is exactly as high as it needs to be. Or you could set them to all be the same size if you wanted, but I think it looks pretty good this way. Questions? The last thing to say is increase the height of row 12. 12, why? It just fits perfectly. Oh, for a different reason. Click the bottom of 12, and how big you want it? 40. Well, I'm just going to right-click, 30, and here's row height. Just like column height, or column width, there's row height, and the book says 30, so I'm going to type it because it's easier. What did that do? Just gave me a little extra space between the stuff at the top down here. So you can use row height to space stuff out a little bit. Save, please. We made it through the first half. So let's keep plowing. More stuff. A lot of this is fairly simple, I hope. But not the first part. Now we want to enter formulas. Remember when we looked at the previews of that spreadsheet, formulas are entered using cell addresses. The most common mistake that beginning students make is they use actual numbers in their formulas. That's pretty rare, that you type a number 13, that you type a 5. Sometimes, but it's pretty rare. What we want Excel to do for us is calculate how much money do they owe us. They bought 2 at $5.95. Well, if you're good at math, that's $11.90, I think, or something like that. Right? But if you're not good at math, we need some help here. But what you don't put in your formulas is $5.95 times 2, because then if they change their mind and add another quantity to make it 3, we want the formula to update right away. So we use the cell addresses in our formulas, not real numbers. That's an important point. Okay. Oh, this part here. My programming class, they said everybody knows this. The order of operations. And by the way, everybody should know this. When you add, use a plus, minus. In all programming languages, including Excel, you use an asterisk to multiply. That's Shift 8 on your keyboard or the asterisk on your numeric keypad. You use a regular slash to divide. And if, heaven forbid, you're doing exponentiation, you use that little caret guy, and he's, I think, a Shift 6. Then there's an order of operations. The exponentiation is done first, then addition and subtraction. Multiplication and division. Then addition and subtraction. So in this example down here, multiplication is done, oops, you can't see it, it's the wrong page. In the book at the bottom of page 32, go there real quick. It says 3 plus 4 times 5. I hate when I do this, I walk away from my recording, forgetting that you can't see what I'm doing, but it's on the page. 3 plus 4 times 5. The order of precedence says you multiply first. So the answer is 23. If I did it left to right, which might be your first instinct, it would be 7 times 5 is 35. That's a different answer. Excel knows these orders of operation. What if I wanted to add first? Parentheses. You, Excel programmer, is really what you're doing. You, the Excel programmer, have to know that you need parentheses there so that you get 7 times 5 instead of 20 plus 3. You have to know that. It's described at the bottom of page 32, excuse me. If you need a little review, there's a couple more examples there. If it's a tie, multiplication and division, they're at the same level, kind of like rank. They're at the same rank, you do them left to right. You can still put parentheses in if you wish. All kinds of examples on page 33. Give them a look. In H12, right next to quantity, we're supposed to type the word charge, all uppercase. And now in the cell below, so I'm going to press enter. In the cell below, we want to put in a formula that calculates the total charge for this. When you're typing formulas in Excel, you start with an equal sign. Otherwise, Excel thinks when you type, we're going to type here F13. When you type an F, it thinks you're typing text, right? Because we've been typing all kinds of text. As soon as you start with a letter, it's text. If you start with an equal sign, now you're telling Excel formula. F3. No, F13. That's the address of that cell. Notice as I type it, Excel says, you mean this one, right? Highlights it for us. I didn't do that. Excel did it. Times G13. And again, Excel says, you mean this one, right? So you can verify that your formula is correct. Press enter. Excel calculates the charge. Unfortunately, these are wrapped the wrong way, so I'm going to select them all and move them to the top. That's better. That's optional, probably. But it looks better, right? But we're really goofy when these are at the top and that one was at the bottom. Looks goofy. Delete that. Let me show you a better way. If you type like I do, entering lots of formulas like that could take half the night. A better way is to press the equal sign to start a formula and use what I call point and shoot. Point to what you want. You click. It puts the address in for you. You have to multiply, so you have to type the star, and then point to the next one and click. I call it point and shoot. To me, works a heck of a lot better than typing. I can't remember the last time I typed a formula. Press return, and we get the same answer. Again, notice there's no numbers in here. I didn't say 595 times 2. I could try that. Don't follow me here. Equals 5.95 times 2. Ta-da! Same answer. Beauteous. No. Because watch what happens if I change the quantity. Go ahead and change yours. Change quantity to 3. Mine's stuck. Yours changed, right? Mine's stuck because I said multiply 5.95 times 2. Change my formula. Equals this times that. Return 1785. If I change this back to 2, it recalculates. Notice it does not recalculate till you press enter. I can change the price and it will update the charge automatically because we use cell references instead of values. You rarely use values in your formula. Okay, they had you type a second one. I'm kind of skipping over this for a second because they used the point and click technique. And then they talk about copy and pasting formulas. This is magic. Are you ready? This is cool stuff. Very important for your homework assignments because when you copy and paste, it saves you an immense amount of time. I could come down here and say equals this times this, and then come here equals this times this. Come down here equal. What if I had 150,000 of these? Or even 50? That would be painful. You copy formulas, and Excel does magic. So I'm selecting the formula. I built one. Copy it to the clipboard. Right-click or Control-C, whatever you prefer. Racing ants. Got this on the clipboard. Highlight all of these. I could highlight 50, 150, 10,000 cells if I wanted to. Right-click. Oops. Missed my right-click. Right-click. Paste. No way. Way? Look what Excel did to that formula. It updated it. You'd think if you copy and paste that this one would say F13 plus G13. Nope. It updates them. It's called relative addressing. I'm getting ahead of myself, but Excel is lying to you. If you click on this cell, it says, in here, I have F13 times G13. No, it doesn't. It's lying. What it really has is 2 cells to the left times 1 cell to the left using some sneaky code. So when you copy it, 2 cells to the left, 1 cell left, 2 cells to the left, 1 cell left, over and over and over again, and just to be nice, it shows you F14, G14. It's really 1 to the left, to the left. We don't care. It's magic. It filled them in. I didn't have to type 50 formulas. Thank goodness. Magic. There's other ways to do that. You want to see the other way? It's easier. Undo. Control Z. Click on F13. Make it the active cell. And in the lower right-hand corner is called the little thing, the little black box there called the fill handle. If you touch it with your mouse changes to a black plus sign. Critical. Drag it. Done. Same thing happens. I think they show you that in chapter 2. It's too cool. Gotta learn it now. Control, copy, paste, that works. So does drag on the fill handle. I think it's easier. Simplifying formulas using functions. Oh boy. I think this is a little premature, but it's in the chapter, so we have to talk about it. Click in G18. That's here. And type subtotal. What I want Excel to do for me now is add all these up. Adding up a pile of numbers is so common that there's a function built into Excel. What a function is just a predefined mathematical formula. Excel knows how to add up a pile of numbers. It knows how to calculate the average of a pile of numbers. It knows how to calculate the payment on a loan. There are literally thousands of things that Excel already knows how to do. One of the most common is add stuff up. Click where you want the total to go, right there. So that's H18. On your ribbon, at the very top, in the Home tab, Editing group, I happen to know where that one is because I use it a lot. There's an Auto Sum button. I hate the name of that. If you drop the little arrow down next to it, we can calculate a sum or an average, or we can count these, we can come up with the minimum or the maximum, or we can go look at the other 1,000 functions that are available. I want a sum. Click. Excel goes, let me look around here. Oh, look, there's numbers up above. You want me to add those up for you? Yes. Enter. Done. Easy. Not bad at all. Magic. Watch here. You don't have to follow. I'm going to change the quantity to 3. What does that do? It changes this. What does that do? It changes this. No way. Way. Oh, magic. This is so much fun for figuring out how much is my loan going to cost me. What if I put $10,000 down on the house? Then what happens? What if I get a loan for 2.5% instead of 3%? Then what happens to my payment? You just put all these numbers. What if, what if, what if, what if? That's part of what spreadsheets were created for. What if? Businesses use it all the time to ask what if questions. What if we build another plant? What do we expect to happen to revenue? What do we expect to happen to expenses? What do we expect? What if? And they analyze these things to death. Cool stuff. I'm going to undo so mine looks like yours, back to 2, and it automatically goes back again. Any value that you change in this area here will change these and these automatically because we put in cell references. And I harped on that enough yet? Cell references. In G11. G11? Really? 11, right there. Type in sales tax. In H11, we haven't talked about this, type 5%. What's the mathematical equivalent of 5%? 0.05. Who said that? Oh, you already had a candy bar. Can't give you another one. Excel's lying to me again. It says 5% up there. That's not what it has. It has 0.05. Trust me. 5% is what we typed, but it's really a number. Excel's just doing you a favor saying you might not know that 0.05 is the same as 5%, so I'll just show it to you the way you understand it, and that's cool. But behind the scenes, it's using 0.05. In G19, back down here again, we type in what? Tax. And now we need a formula. In the book, it shows you what the formula is. If you don't know, it's usually in the book. If you can't pull it out of the book, ask me. Equal sign. I want to take my subtotal, so I point to it, click, times, got to type that, the tax. The cells don't have to be right next to each other. They can be all over the place. They can even be, in intermediate Excel, in different sheets. And you take numbers from over there and over here, do math with them. Click, enter. Sound right? 5% of all, yeah, sounds about right. At least look at it, say, does it look right? Looks right. Cool. G20, handling. Tab 1530. Really? Everybody gets the same handling? I guess so. We want the dollar sign, so you got to type it. If you don't get a dollar sign. 1530. Type the entire 30, you get 2 decimal places. If you only type the 0.3, you only get 1. And it'll kind of get sticky that way. So when you're first entering these numbers, if you want dollar signs and commas and percent signs, type them in and you'll see them. In G21, type total. And now, for the total, I want to take this one, this one, this one, add them up. Now you could click, plus, click, plus, click, right? But we have that trusty dusty sum function. Let's click on that. And up here at the top is the auto sum. We click on it and it says, how about these? No. Why didn't it grab that one? I don't know, some Excel logic because it's already a total, so it says, no, I don't want that one. We go, yes, we do. In the book, it says, type the formula. Volker says, no, I don't like typing. Point to the 114 and drag down and say, here, use these. Highlight it for the sum function. You just highlight them. And now it's updated. It says H18, H20, which is exactly what it says to do in the book. Press enter, ta-da, and guess what happens when I change numbers now? The subtotal updates, the tax updates, the total update, everything updates. It's magic. No, it's not. It's Excel. You make it look like magic if you can know how to build these things when you have a job. I, as a teacher, know how to do spreadsheets. It helps me. I do statistical analysis of all my programming students using Excel. If I didn't know that, I couldn't do it. I have to do it by hand, heaven forbid. This is much better. Now what? If you're trying to follow along, use all the way up to page 39. We put in all those formulas. Good. Sum function did its job. Good. Modifying a worksheet. Ugh. I hate this part. I almost want to skip it, but I can't. I don't do this very often. Moving a range of cells. According to this, we want to highlight G18 to H21. So that's here to here. Now, if I want to move them, I have to have that special cursor shape. I want to move them down one row, just make a little bit of room. Anywhere on any edge, if you touch it, you'll get a 4-headed arrow attached to your mouse. 4-headed arrow, not that plus sign. If I'm moving them down, some of you might feel more comfortable pulling them down from the bottom, but it really doesn't matter. Grab them, pull them down one row, and they move. And again, Excel magic updates all the formulas. Touch the edge until you get that 4-headed arrow. You see the arrow with the 4 arrows on it, and then drag it. Look up here. My mouse is a plus sign. If I touch the edge, it changes to this arrow with a 4-headed cross on it. When you touch the edge, you got to touch the edge. Then you can pull it and move them around wherever you want to move them. Some people find dragging and dropping difficult. I don't know. I think you get used to it pretty well. Click on A3. Uh-oh. We're going to have trouble doing this one. In the book, it says click on A3. Right there. And then press Control, Shift, End. I don't think that's going to work on my Mac, so I'm going to do this. I'm just going to drag all the way down to here. Control, Shift, End is a shortcut key. If you can't remember all those, by the way, Control, End jumps to the end, right? We saw that. The Shift highlights on the way. So if you press Shift End, it jumps to the end, highlighting on the way. Shift up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, it moves and highlights as it's going. The Shift key as you're moving means highlight. I teach you that in Word. Works there too. Okay, what am I supposed to do with all those things? Cut them. Really? Okay, Control X, goes erasing ants. And now this is kind of tricky. Those look like they're still there, but they're not really. They've been cut. That's the one thing I don't like about Excel's erasing ants. It looks like the stuff's still there. Good news is you can press Escape and go, oh, change my mind. Click in A9 and paste. That was weird. Notice when you have a big block of cells on the clipboard, all you have to point is the upper left and say, put it here, and it goes, fills it all in all over the place. You don't have to highlight the same amount of cells when you paste. Some more stuff. The count function. We saw the sum function. Excel also knows how to count things, so we don't have to count them. Imagine if I had all my orders here from all my customers. I could scroll through and count them. I could maybe take the row numbers and do math and screw it up, or I can just say, hey, Excel, how many are there? And it'll tell me. In A3, we're supposed to type order ID. Press tab and then type 14123. Close enough. That's the order ID. Notice it treats it as a number. If this was me and I was being extra anal, I would have put an apostrophe in front of that. Do you do math with order numbers? Probably not. So it's really text. But I'm not that anal today, plus we're running out of time here to keep going. Shipping date. And now I'm supposed to type 4/3/2016. It'll format it that way. If you don't put the year on, you get 2014, you get some funky format. So make sure you type the date the full way. Delivery. Overnight. I'm just pressing tab and then enter, because that's what the book says. Items ordered. And now here, I could go count them and I can see there's 5, or I can let Excel figure it out for me. Unlike sum, the count function can't really look ahead and see and say, yeah, I bet you want me to count these. Especially here, we're out in the middle of nowhere. So we have to start with an equals count. Notice all the other different versions of count that there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different. We're not even going to talk about this. We're just going to do a straight count. And there has to be a parenthesis. How do you know that's in the book? And now we highlight. What do they want me to highlight? With the insertion point still blinking, select G19 to G23 here. Select them, let go. Make sure it says G19 to G23. The colon is Excel speak for everything between here and here. You should technically type a closing parenthesis, but Excel is smart enough to put it in for you. Just press enter. 5. Wait a minute. 5 plus 2 plus 3 is 5, 6, 7, 9. How come that is? Because we said count how many numbers there are, not add them up. That's different. We could have counted anything. We could have counted ISBNs. We could have counted categories. We could have counted bindings. Why they chose that, I have no idea. It doesn't matter when you're counting. You can count anything. Total charge. This one's interesting. That goes right there under items ordered. No, it doesn't. It goes in, yeah, that's A7. Total charge. Wait a minute. Didn't I calculate that already? Yeah, I did. It's down here. Right, way down at the bottom here. I've already calculated it. Right. But maybe I have a very deep worksheet and I have to scroll 300 rows to see that total. I'd like this as part of my summary up here. Instead of recalculating it, you can simply say, give me whatever is in, according to the book, H28. Now that one's nice and easy to type, though I could still come down here and click it. Notice it highlighted it for me. All that says is whatever you got in H28, show it to me here as well. If that one down there changes, this one changes. They're just mirror images of each other. Very convenient. Inserting or deleting rows and columns. Click row 21. When you're inserting rows, you insert 1,000,000 cells. All the way across, you always insert rows. And then you right click. There's a menu, there's a toolbar. Here's a toolbar for insert up there. Right click, insert. If you have selected a row, it inserts a row. And most Microsoft products, PowerPoint is one of the exceptions, most Microsoft products insert before. Now, if you wanted to insert after, there's an option up here. Insert rows, insert cells, insert before and after shows up a little later. Right. I just right click and insert, and it inserts above, or pardon me, above the one we were on. And then we're supposed to type some stuff in there. Is it really important? No. That's how you insert a row. Undo. Or actually, let's not. Let's right click on there and delete an entire row. I can do that too. I just don't want to have you typing because it's already 8 o'clock. Right. You could have typed more data in that row. However, oops, forgot to mention that. I'm going to undo. Just watch for a second. Did it update my formulas over here? No. All right, so if I had $15, notice this though. I typed 15. It automatically formatted it the same as the row before. 3. Tab. Oh, no problem. Grab the little fill handle on the end, drag it down, or copy and paste it. Done. All right, now I'm going to delete it. Don't worry about it. I just want to show you that when you insert new rows, it doesn't automatically update your formulas. You have to do that manually until Excel Intermediate, then I'll show you a way around it. That's the intermediate class. All right, so I'm skipping a bunch of stuff on page 44, entering more data. I don't care. Oh, one other thing. What if I want to insert multiple rows like that? If I now right-click and insert, it's going to insert 3 rows above this group. So you can insert 10, 6, as many as you want at one time. Just highlight that many to start. You can do the same thing with columns. Insert columns. It puts 2 in, pushes everybody else over, updates all the formulas. Magic. Undo. Deleting, did that. Inserting or deleting a range. Oh man, I hate this, so I really want to do this. I suppose I have to because I'm going to make you do it. Select the range A17, that would be the blank line here, to A28, straight down. A28, oh yeah, because it's got that extra stuff. What's it doing? That's right out to here. And now we're going to insert cells. In the Home tab, Cells group, Home tab, Cells, Insert, Cells. I could probably right-click and do the same thing. I'm just following the book for a change. When you click on that, it says, no, wait a minute. You got cells all over the place. What do you want me to do? Do you want to shift them up, shift them left, shift them right? What do you want to do? Book says shift them to the right. Everybody moves over, and now all of our cell alignments are wacky. All the widths are wacky. What can we do? Nothing much. Go through each one, change them. We're not gonna. In the interest of time. You know how to change the widths, right? Come over here and say, you're supposed to be 30. Change it. You know how to do that. So we're going to leave it ugly. In the interest of time, because it's after 8. I'm supposed to be done. We're almost there. And keep going. I can do this. If I get the right mouse. So it's ugly. Hiding rows, flash fill, I think is the last topic. Pretty sure. We still got a. Here's flash fill in the book. I'm sorry, you can't see it. I'm on page 48. Flash fill is new in Excel 2013. If you accidentally open 10, this will not work for you. What flash fill allows you to do is recognize what it allows Excel to do is recognize a pattern. Unfortunately, because we built our table by pasting it from Word, I don't think this is going to work. We'll work around it. click in cell A19. We're supposed to type 25385 dash capital used, just like that. This is supposed to be the book number that the company uses. They steal this number and this category. What flash fill allows you to do, if it works, and it will because when you do your homework and your training, you won't be copying from someplace else. You'll have to manually type some of this stuff. But what flash fill allows this Excel to do is when you go to the next one, it says, oh, look, there's a number, there's a new. Let's create the exact same pattern, even though it's plucking them out of the middle and grabbing some of this. That's pretty cool. I don't know how often I would use it, but that's pretty cool. Where I have used it is where I have a name that is last name, comma, first name, and I want to split it into two parts, first and last. Flash fill works. I type the first one, and then it senses that, oh, everything before the comma is the last name, everything after the last is the first name, and it does it for me all the way down. Magic. Press enter. Let's try it with the right keyboard. Press enter. And now here we're supposed to just type the 9. Oh, it did it. When I practiced, it didn't do it. Look at that. I just typed a 9 and it goes, hey, that's just like the other pattern. That's got a 9. You go with the new, all the way down, enter. Cool. And that's new. The Dell wasn't there in 2010. This is new stuff. That's pretty cool. I've used it to do the name thing there. I found that. And if you had a city-state zip, you could do the same thing. It would figure it out. That's pretty cool. All right. Now we just need to pretty this up and then we're done. All of chapter 2 is about formatting. So this is the basics. When we get to chapter tutorial 2, we're going to be spending a lot of time making things really beautiful. Select A3 to B7. So that's this stuff. For some reason, the authors of the text like to put borders around this. Okay? This is the, whoops. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is the borders button. Just like in Microsoft Word, it was pretty much the same place. If you drop that down, you can choose all borders or any combination. I think in this chapter, all they want you to do is all borders, and poof, now I've got borders that will actually print. Then we're supposed to select the non-adjacent range. It's called a collection, right? A9 to here. No, A9 to B16 here. Then there's a blank row. And then H17, whoa, H. I can't see mine, so I have to scroll. Here's H17, that would be here, to I17. I'm going to select all of this stuff. Yuck. To 23? No. To I17, just to there. Why? Because we can. Just to practice doing a collection and notice the border still has the same button. You just click it. And now they have borders. Nice. But why did they do the ones over there and over here, but not the ones in between? I don't know, just to practice doing a collection. Ultimately, they want borders on all of them. So I'm just going to drag this whole bunch down here, including the, no, only to here, borders. And then come over and do the totals. They just have you do it in a different way. End result is the same. What's easier for you? Trying to create one of those collections or just doing separate groups? I don't think your training or your test can tell how you did it as long as you got borders under. So that's borders. What other exciting things can we do? Changing the font size. Can you imagine? Page 51. Going back to A1 now. So that's Control Home. Or, in my case, since I can't figure out my keyboard here, my Mac keyboard, there's A1. How do you think I'm going to change the font size? Right here, 28. And normally people don't say make it size 28. They say, there, that's big enough. 28. Not too tough, just like Microsoft Word. And now I'm at the bottom of page 51. People try to find out where did he go. Skipped a bunch of stuff. I got the end result. Bottom of page 51, it says, how do we print? Programmers, what do I feel about printing? Don't ever print for me. You haven't printed yet, right? All that Microsoft Word, good stuff, you don't print any of it. I don't need to see it. If you're printing, you better be somebody who gets paid more than you asking for it. Because printing to me today, better off saving it. I can find it, change it, look at it any which way you want to. But we can print workbooks. Go to File, Print, just like Microsoft Word. Pick your printer. Okay, on my laptop, I have a OneNote sample or pseudo printer. It's not a real one. Okay. But you pick your printer, pick the number of copies, and then here's the kicker. If you want the whole thing, print not just the active sheets, but all sheets, the whole workbook. And now you get page 1, that's my documentation sheet. Page 2, and then that spills over. Uh-oh. That'll print that way. And you could tape the two together, do whatever you need to, and it'll be okay. Or we can tweak things. You can zoom in and out to see a little bit more. Yeah. Down at the bottom, let's cancel that print, go back. Now I'm zoomed in a little bit here. Let's zoom out. Oh, okay. Smaller, please. If you look closely on your worksheet, you'll see dotted lines. Once you do the printing, you can see the page edges in your worksheet. They're right here. Kind of hard to see, but they're there. At the bottom of your screen, next to the size arrows over here, kind of hard to see them, way down lower right. There's 3 buttons. Remember Microsoft Word, it was reader view and normal view and page layout and all these different views. Same thing here. Page layout view. Here's what it's going to look like. You can add headers, Unit 2. But you can see where the page breaks are going to be, etc. Then there's this one, which shows you this view and where the page breaks are going to be. It's all nice. To me, it's only good if you're going to print. I'm not a big fan of printing. So I'm going back to normal view, and even here, these dotted lines show me where the pages are going to break. Maybe I can get this thing to fit on a page if I turn it sideways, because it's not real deep, but it's kind of wide. You can change the orientation very easily. Page layout, just like Microsoft Word. Orientation, landscape. Still doesn't fit. I can verify by going back to the page break preview. It's better, but there's still 3 or more columns hanging out there that aren't going to fit. Excel does something that I haven't seen in Word, and I don't think I would want to use it in Word. Going back to the normal view. In the page layout, there's a width and a height. When I first saw those, I thought those were row and height of the cells, the columns, and the rows. No, that's the row and height of your printing. Automatic, it just fits the page. You can tell it to scale this to fit on 1 page wide. And just in case it gets deeper later, scale it to fit on 1 page deep. And now when I do my preview, it all fits on 1 page. How does it do that? Shrinks the margins, changes the font sizes, makes it fit. That's pretty cool. If you're printing. And again, if you look closely, there's dotted lines here and a little bit lower. That was scaling on page 54. Setting the print options, file, print, printer, entire workbook, did that. Oh, this one, I love this. Oh. Page 56, we're almost done. What if I want to, this is left over from the 1990s. What if I want to see the formulas instead of the answers? Why would you want to do that? So when you print it and turn it into your instructor, they can see that you really used formulas instead of a calc. I'm not printing this, you're not printing this, but we can still do it because it's fun. Control, oh, I don't know, I think it's not a tilde. What's it? That little thing next to the number 1, it's a backwards tick. Control, backwards tick. There, formulas, ta-da! And I can see that this is H28, and over there, if I scroll, I can see those formulas. Isn't that nice? Some people would say, well, then you print this and you file it away in your filing cabinet so that if you trash this, you can rebuild the form. No, no, no. You keep backups in the cloud, backups on your H drive, backups on, and if it's really important, in all of those places. And you don't keep a paper copy of the formulas. It's going to be out of date next week. They show you how because somebody said they're supposed to. I don't think it's much use to us. How do we get rid of them? Same. Control, tick mark, what do they call it? Grave. Ooh, nice name. Grave. And they go back and everything resizes to fit, so that's cool. In the old days, you do that in Excel, it'd make everything bigger and it'd leave the cell size, the columns. Terrible. No anymore. Save it. Then what? What else are you making me do here? Save, save, save. Oh, save as. You know how to do save as, right? Microsoft Word. Same thing. File. Save as. And you know what they ask you to do? Let's do it. It's not so bad. In the same place, I'm going to save it wherever you want to. Save as. Give it a new name. And at the end, just add the word form. We're never using this again. The only reason you might want to look at it is to see what the formulas were, but that still doesn't tell you how you got there. So the stuff we're doing in class is good for learning, but I'm not so sure you're going to need it after the fact. Click on Save. And then what they ask you to do, this is kind of interesting, is wipe out all the data. Like what? Like B3 through 5. So that's the order ID and the shipping. Delete. Why am I wiping these out? Because they're formulas. They're going to automatically reset themselves to count 0, total 0 when we're done. Probably the customer's name and stuff, right? B10 to 16. B10 to 16, delete. They ask you to do a collection or a non-adjacent range again. Why? Can't I do them separately? Sure. A19 to H23. A19 here to H23 here. Delete. I must have missed one. H23. Quantity. Get rid of those. Delete. And now what do we have? An empty worksheet that's ready for anybody to come in, type in an order ID, a date, and a delivery, type in who we're shipping this to, and type in the items and the quantity and the prices. And as soon as they do, all the formulas go, and they calculate everything as magic. It's pretty cool. Except when I give this to my mom, she overtypes the formulas. Oops, I didn't mean to type there. Now, how do I get that complicated, convoluted formula? Oh, God, I've been on the phone with her so many times. Intermediate Excel. Guess who teaches that class? I do. Intermediate Excel. Pay an extra $200. You get to take that class. And it's hard. Intermediate Excel, I tell you how to protect this workbook so people can't change the formulas. And they can't change the labels. And they can't change the borders because my mom wipes out the borders and she can't use it anymore because the borders are gone. So, still works. I can't. I need the borders. Spent hours on the phone with her fixing that stuff. But there are ways to protect it. Done. Stop the recording. That's already an hour long.